Hello, hello. Time again for another cover. Okay, well, this time we're going to be doing a little bit of Christian music. It's called Born for This. It's from a new album called The Story, and it takes different Bible characters and they tell their story. Well, for Born for This, it's Esther. And I don't know if a lot of you know the story of Esther, but Esther was a Jew, and she was chosen by a king who did, I believe it was the Persian king, if I'm correct. Well, his executive wanted to kill off all the Jews. She had to stand up and be the person that she had to be in order to save her people. In the end, she did save her people by standing up for what she believed, and she told her husband, which was the king, and take note, if you went before the king without being summoned, you were supposed to be killed immediately. Unless he told you to touch my scepter, then you were accepted. For some reason, he told her, touch my scepter. And she was forgiven for entering without being summoned. And she saved all her people. And I think it's the greatest story ever. And I had this really special connection with this story because when I was younger, I had a preacher's wife come up to me. It was an evangelist, and he came to our church. And she touched me, and she jerked her hand back real quick, and she said, "Oh my God." Her husband came to her, and he was like, what's wrong? And she looked at my parents and said, "Your child is going to do great things because she has the spirit of Esther." To know that I am compared to a great queen who gave her life for her people is the greatest feeling ever. So I strive every day to be like Esther. And now I'm going to sing the song. It has a lot of meaning to me, and I love it. So here we go. Hope y'all like it, because I love it. Oh, the song by Mandisa, by the way. Born for This. Feels like I've been holding my breath, trying to still my restless heart. Everything hangs on my next step, finding my nerve, playing my part. I found shelter underneath his crown, found favor inside his eyes. Rock this boat and I just might drown. Honesty seems to come with a price. There's a time to hold your tongue, then to keep your head down. There's a time, but it's not now. Sometimes you gotta go uninvited. Sometimes you gotta speak when you don't have the floor. Sometimes you gotta move when everybody else says you should say, "No way, no, not today." Gotta ask if you want an answer. Sometimes you gotta stand apart from the crowd, long before your heart could run the risk. You were born for this. Hey, you were born for this. I'm leaning on the ones before me, my father's dreams. I'm standing on the top of their shoulders, calling the one delivering me. There's a time to hold your tongue, time to keep your head down. There's a time, but it's not now. Sometimes you gotta go uninvited. Sometimes you gotta speak when you don't have the floor. Sometimes you gotta move when everybody else says you should stay. No way, no, not today. So you gotta ask if you want an answer. Sometimes you gotta stand apart from the crowd, long before your heart could run the risk. You were born for this, and you were born for this. trust you, made to lay my life before you. Sometimes you gotta speak when you don't have the blood. Sometimes you gotta move when everybody else says you should stay. No way, no, not today. You gotta ask if you want an answer. Sometimes you gotta stand apart from the crowd. Long before your heart could run the risk. You were born for this. 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 So I love that song and it's great. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I hope you really understand the story of Esther now.